I've told the story of my business evolution hundreds of times, but every time I've told the story, there's been a really important detail that I have omitted. And today I'm going to share that detail. Most of you know that mid 2018, I quit my corporate career in creative communications, also known as the advertising industry, to start a business as a life coach and in the field of personal development, transformation, not really knowing what I was doing, but keen to pursue the path of self-mastery, learn more about human behavior and wherever that was going to go. I just wanted to get out of working full-time. I wanted more space. I wanted to prioritize my creative projects. I wanted to pursue my writing, and I didn't have the time to do that working full-time. So I quit, threw caution to the wind, and didn't really have a plan. And it wasn't until December of 2019 that I finally arrived at a point where I had an offer, I had a niche, and I had a vision that I was ready to commit to. Whenever I tell this story, it always starts with me having just moved to Bali, just having had my first 10K month, and having the lunch that changed my life with an ex-partner's business coach at the time, who told me that if it wasn't really obvious, I should teach people how to write, that I should teach people content marketing. About a month after that, I launched my first group coaching program, my first online course called the Content Emporium. What I didn't tell you, what I didn't tell anyone, except for my close friends, is that during that first ever launch, when there was a frenzy of people who were so excited to work with me, who were thrilled at what I was launching, there was so much momentum, excitement, people joining a Facebook group, people following me on Instagram, joining a wait list for the next launch, me realizing, oh my God, for the first time, I'm really making money and I have more money than I need and I can start putting this in savings or I can invest it. I knew that I had product market fit. I had tested an offer that people wanted and it was predictable. I had a marketing system where I could deliver a masterclass. People were engaged, they were showing up, they were opting in, and people were buying the program. So for the first time, I had some sense of stability and viability in the business that I was about to embark upon and build properly. December 2019 was when I had finally, after many years, figured out how to make money. And this was a first for me because I knew that I could keep doing it. I could keep rinsing and repeating what I had just figured out. I could keep launching the same program. I could keep delivering the same content and teaching and coaching this thing. People wanted it. They needed it. And this is a really big part of business. For anyone that is on the business journey, once you've validated an offer, from there, it's just marketing systems and scale. The hardest part about starting a business is that first part when you're going from 0 to 1 and you can create an offer that people really, really want and you can deliver it and deliver the result or the transformation that people really, really want, what you've advertised. If you can get to that point and you get to, 1, then you can repeat that again and again. And that's really the turning point. So when I had arrived at that point, I was ecstatic. I was thrilled. Finally, I'd figured something out that was really going to change my life after a lifetime of being poor and struggling with money and not knowing what to do and how to figure it out and kind of always feeling, like, I don't know how I'm going to get what I want in life. I made a decision, a very important decision, one of the most important decisions that I've ever made in my life. Because up until that point, I had always known what I wanted to do. The problem is that I could never figure out how to monetize it. I didn't grow up with money or connections. I didn't grow up in the land of possibility. And I didn't know how I was ever going to make it as a successful creative person, where I was very, very specific about what I wanted to create, the art that I wanted to write and make. And I wasn't willing to compromise on that. I didn't want to be a ghostwriter. I didn't want to be a copywriter. I didn't want to be a videographer. I didn't want to do commercial videos for other people. I didn't want to work in my field, but close enough, but not quite doing what I really wanted. I wasn't willing to do that because I knew that there would be a pain associated with me being close and that it would kind of ruin the process for me. And I knew that because for a long time, I was very passionate about photography. I went traveling when I was 19 for about 8 months, backpacking, living abroad, and really learning the art of photography after even taking some classes at uni. And then I came back to Melbourne and I'd gotten better, after 8 months of practice. And one of my best friends at the time saw a photo that I had taken of a local fisherman during sunset in El Nido, Palawan in the Philippines. And it looked like something that could have been in National Geographic. And he said to me, Phoebes, you need to pursue this photography thing. You are really good at it. And I think that you could do it for real. Like you could be a photographer and you should make it your career. And I did. I, for years, pursued photography, worked as an assistant in studios. I worked as an event photographer, a nightclub photographer, eventually making my way up to wedding photography. I did a couple of commercial shoots. And by the end of that, several years in, I was so bitter and resentful that I could no longer pick up a camera or touch one again. Working in the photography industry ruined my love and passion for street photography, for portraiture. And I didn't want to make that same mistake with writing and filmmaking. I didn't want to spend all of my days writing for someone else things that were boring, that I didn't care about. I didn't want to spend my days shooting commercial videos that I drained my soul and then get to a point where I was like, I can't be around this anymore. It was too sacred to me. So I, for many years, tried to figure out how I could make money doing something else that could support my creative vision. Fast forward, after several attempts at starting an agency, trying to get into tech startups, realizing that I was not an engineer, I was never going to be an engineer, and I probably was never going to be a successful tech startup founder. And I arrive at a point in time where online courses are starting to take off. I see an ad in 2018 by Danielle Leslie that says you can start your own online course. And I did it. And now I'm making $20,000 a month from my online course through Instagram. And then I'm seeing these ads by Sam Ovens saying the same thing. And all of a sudden, I'm seeing and learning and realizing that maybe online courses are a great way to make money from anywhere, relatively passive. You're on the beach, like once you've made the course once, that's it, whoop, and then it's done. You're making money all the time. And so I'm like, well, you don't really need any startup costs. All you need is expertise and a topic. And I spent a really long time trying to figure out what my expertise was for a lot of the end of 2018. Like, what could I teach on? What could I teach on? So when I finally had that moment where, the light reached through and Caleb said to me, you should teach content marketing and writing, I was like, this is it. Everything from that point seemed really straightforward. This was my opportunity to finally make money.